Morning. PU. Should I do this highlight with a little S in the middle? No, I'm going to do this. Northwestern calling on Penn State, who's reeling coming off of that loss at UCLA, but Northwestern beat UCLA, so Northwestern should then beat Penn State, right? Well, that's Nick Singleton, 38th rushing touchdown, tied with Lydell Mitchell for second most all-time at Penn State, trailing only Saquon Barkley, 5 touchdowns off that pace. Drew Aller going to float one out here to Devontae Ross, transferred from Troy to play with Aller. Look at Ross just absolutely take off. Aller had 137 passing yards. Did have a pick. Ross would eventually get wrangled down in the red zone. Would lead to a touchdown. Nittany Lions go up 21-16. But here come these frisky Wildcats from Evanston. I got Caleb Komolafe. And Komolafe is in. Just kind of squeaked through. 19 carries, 72 yards, and a touchdown. Northwestern has a 1-point lead. Aller dropping back. Drew Aller is going to get sandwiched as he takes off on 3rd and 4. And he hurt his leg. And they would announce after the game, after he's helped off, that he is out for the season. You see the emotion for the 3-year starter. And because he's played more than 4 games in each of the last 4 years, he has no more eligibility unless the eligibility changes. Right now, though, we got Penn State eligible for another loss as a 20-point or more favorite. They were the first team since 1978 to lose back-to-back games in those situations.
All right, to the Cotton Bowl we go, the Red River rivalry. It's ranked Oklahoma taking on unranked Texas, and they still don't like each other. John Mateer, 17 days removed from having surgery on a broken bone in his throwing hand. He's playing. Mateer struggled against this Texas defense. They knew they had to be pesky with Mateer, who was 13 of 21, 119 yards, 2 interceptions. Again, surgery on a broken bone in his throwing hand. Oklahoma, they were up though 6-3 at halftime there at the State Fair of Texas. Down 6-3 are the Longhorns still. It's 3rd and 3, playing in the shadows. Figuratively, literally. Arch Manning rolling out. Ryan Wingo, that's an 11-yard pickup. Let's move the sticks. First down in the red zone. Couple plays later, Manning, DeAndre Moore. Randy, they don't call him
DeAndre left.
That's correct. Wide open, back of the end zone for the score. It's 10-6. The Longhorns trying to rebound from that disappointing loss in the swamp last week at the hands of Florida. It's Manning. Shadows playing tricks on you. Nice off-platform throw from Manning later in the same drive. It's 3rd and 7. Manning, Quintravion Weiser making one defender miss. Wisner making everybody else miss. Wisner picks up 19. It leads to a Texas field goal. They're up 13 to 29-yard pickup. The bigger pickup, Texas, a win in the win column, 23-6.
Good to have Heather Dinich and Paul Finebaum with us this morning on SportsCenter. Heather, this feels like a huge win for Texas, but perhaps why is it not as big a victory as we might believe?
Well, because it was the first win against a Power 4 opponent, a first win against a ranked opponent, and because Texas has the 15th most difficult schedule remaining in the country. They still have to play Vanderbilt, Georgia, and a Texas A&M team that I currently have number 4th in my latest projection. So yes, it was a huge win. It was critical to keep their playoff hopes alive. And we were able to see how well Arch Manning can play if given some time. The defense is certainly legit. That's why I didn't draft them out of my top 25 last week, guys. But they've got to keep this up and continue to put it together and play as well on offense as they have on defense against more ranked opponents down the stretch.
Heather, I agree with your premise, but I think psychologically it was bigger than that for Arch Manning. He needed something positive to happen after a brutal preseason up until the Red River. To me, this game was also about John Mateer. I'm still doubting what good he was doing in that game, considering the difficulties that he had, but he got the green light. It didn't turn out well, but I still think Oklahoma has a path back. Their schedule is extremely difficult, road games all over the place against teams like Alabama, just to name one or two. But ultimately, though, I think this game was more about Texas getting a boost and moving ahead and maybe having a shot, a narrow shot, albeit.
Let's talk about the Big Ten. Oregon had not lost a regular season conference game yet as members of the Big Ten. Indiana serves them up that first L. Heather, where are the Hoosiers in your rankings after that win yesterday?
They're number 3 in the country. Look, Indiana just went to Autzen and earned the best win in the country to date. And they did it by double digits. Okay, now they have 3 straight wins against Big Ten opponents. That was the only game left on their schedule that they weren't favored to win, according to ESPN Analytics. This was critical in terms of a head-to-head win, in terms of the Big Ten standings. The reason, though, at least one reason I would say, I think the selection committee, if they met today, would still keep them behind Ohio State and Miami, is partially because of that non-conference schedule, which includes Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, and FCS Indiana State. But this is a team that has a Heisman hopeful quarterback in Fernando Mendoza and a defense that was legit, forcing Dante Moore into mistakes and sacking him 6 times. Indiana is for real, right, Paul?
Yes, you are correct, Heather. And what's so extraordinary about this is for all the terrible things that are happening to teams like Penn State and Texas has had its trouble, and obviously a number of others like Clemson, this to me may be the most important moment of the year in college football, because a lot of people, and I'll include myself, Heather, did not see this coming. Indiana looked like a one-hit wonder last year, but that's not what they are. It is so significant for Kurt Cignetti and this program, and it has just not only slammed the door in the critics, some of us can barely speak this morning as a result.
Indiana has beat multiple AP top 10 teams within a season for the first time in the poll era. Paul, Heather, great to see you.
All right, time for a little slice of everything in the sports world. Well, maybe you're dialed into your own game. Saturday's best, the best touchdown. Houston and Oklahoma State. Connor Wigman is going to fake the draw. It's not quite a jump pass. Look, trickery. And he finds Dean Connors. Look at the man in the 4-4. Just hop up, get one paw on it. Got 5 fingers on it. Houston would roll.
Got best conversion here. UCF, Cincinnati, 4th and 12. Cam Fancher taking the snap, rolling, evading. All these Bearcat defenders, they can't hit their claws.
Yeah, they got all of it, dude.
Pretty hard.
They got all of it.
All right, ball tip. Dylan Wade, first down. Got it. Let's revisit trying to speak. What do we know about this college football season 6 weeks in? Not much. Honestly, Paul Finebaum, here to help us see more clear. Little Paul in, Paul out. Paul, first one. Texas answered all of your concerns after yesterday's win against number 6 Oklahoma. Paul in or Paul out?
I'm in on that, although all would be a big word right here for Paul to be in. But I really was impressed with what I saw. I mean, let's just cut to the chase. The season was on the line after the debacle in Gainesville. I thought Arch Manning played very well. He's coming around. It took him till mid-season. The story here was really Mateer. There's just a lot of explanation. I would like some more explanation on exactly what the thinking was. But Arch finally used his legs. He played well. Texas's schedule is tricky, but they're doing pretty well right now.
Yeah, next week at Kentucky.
Yeah, I like that Paul went third person on that one. On the other side, Paul, OU will still make the playoffs. You Paul in or Paul out?
Now, somebody's going to accuse me of being Pauly positive here this morning, but I am still in on them. The caveat is the road schedule. They play South Carolina. I think they can navigate that, but they're also at Tennessee and at Alabama. Those are not easy places to win. I think it's self-explanatory there. They have to win the home games, mainly against Ole Miss, Missouri, and LSU. I think that's doable. Here's the interesting part. If they finish 9-3, they still might squeeze into the playoffs because of the brutal schedule, although Michigan losing yesterday does not help them. They beat Michigan early in the season.
That is a lot of ranked, v ranked. All right, biggest win in the college football season thus far. Number 7 Indiana going on the road and handing the Ducks their first loss at home in 19 tries. Indiana exposed Oregon yesterday. Paul in or Paul out?
I'm out on that because as we saw a minute ago in the highlights, the game was tied. There were a lot of mistakes made, but I still, it's hard to give Oregon a pass for losing a game like this at home. But I still think they have an outstanding quarterback. I think Dan Lanning remains one of the best coaches in the country, although I would advise him to leave his shirt on in the future. But ultimately, I think they can creep their way back into this.
All right. Speaking of shirts, tarps off. This has been a wild college football season, Paul. So if I say At this point of the season, there is no clear championship favorite. Are you Paul in or Paul out?
I'm out on that, and Miami fans may not like it, but I think Ohio State's the best team in the country, and they have such great fans up there. We all know that. And just look at this. To me, it's really a two-way race right now in terms of the elite teams, Ohio State and Miami, Oregon, Ole Miss. You could just mix those up 1,000 different ways. Frankly, Alabama's going to move up. They're closer to the elite level. But to me, Ohio State has been nearly flawless all year. They're the best team in the country and the favorite to win it all.
The offense has been hanging it up, but the defense might be better, allowing just 6.8 points per game this season. Paul Finebaum, thank you much.
All right, let's hit the festivities out there in the Southland. That is USC's Jordan Mayava taking on Michigan. And listen, Michigan may have come in ranked, but the Trojans were favored. It's because of this offense. That's Jacoby Lane on the touchdown. Then it's Mekhi Lemon. 9 grabs, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Jack, are you wearing a tuxedo? It's up to 5, Devin. What am I, a farmer? And then King Miller, third quarter. King Miller went for 158 rush yards and a touchdown on just 18 carries. He was a walk-on last year. And then Brian Jackson is going to put this thing up on the highest of shelves for the Trojans. 31-13, a numeric palindrome. USC roll. Gary and Randy, we just saw Tommy Castellanos in that feature. Now we see Tommy Castellanos, 25th ranked Florida State, hosting Pitt. And Pitt was up for the task, but look at Castellanos throw back across his body after spinning the opposite direction. And he finds Landon Thomas, 25-yard touchdown. Thomas, he's the cheeky one. They won 9 straight home conference games when leading at the break, but Pitt was frisky as well. These Panthers, man, that's Mason Heinschel making just his second career start. True freshman finding his stud running back Desmond Reed for a touchdown. Desmond, so not Penny's boat. And then Jakarian Turner is in, and the Pitt Panthers lead by 10, but Castellanos, look at this strike to Mekhi Danzy. 58-yard touchdown, hit him in stride. 7 grabs, 133 yards, and a touchdown for Danzy. 245 and 3 touchdowns for Castellanos. Florida State had a chance at the onside kick, had to go 10 yards. It did. Pitt recovers, and that is how Pitt wins